Well, Humor Me was inspired a little bit by a project I did a couple years ago called Old Jews Telling Jokes, but it was essentially a original story about a guy, a struggling playwright named Nate, played by Jermaine Clement, who has to move in with his dad, Elliot Gould, in an old age community, golf community in New Jersey, when his wife leaves him and takes their kid.
You know that old story.
Yeah. It's kind of like his wife is this art dealer who leaves him for a collector, and my wife is an art dealer, and there might be some fears that I'm working through in the process of writing this. I will admit that. I've talked to my therapist about it.
Yeah, my character is a musician, which is, I think, I know why you reached out to me, because I am one. And but she's a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, which I am not, luckily. And she's, going through her rehab and living with her mom in this retirement community. So Allison, my character, and Jermaine's character are the two, young ones living amongst all these older people, more mature people, and so they're thrown into this situation together. So they bond, I think, at first over the fact that they're both relatively the same age, and then the connection kind of grows more as the movie goes on. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do want to add, because it's kind of funny because, initially I reached out to Ingrid because she is a musician and a... Did you know her before? I didn't know her. I just knew her music and loved her music, and I watched like every music video that she'd ever made, and I was like, wow, she's kind of good on camera, but then I thought, and plus, she'll like know about life on the road and about drugs and about alcohol, and I had this kind of bad girl character that I'd written, and so I was like, you've had all that stuff, like you've been on the road, you've done drugs. She's like, no. I was like, well, what about alcohol? She's like, not really. I was like, well, this character's like rides a Harley. You know how to do that, right? She's like, I've actually never been on a bicycle.
Yeah, I don't even ride a bike. So he made me ride, I'm talking loudly, I had to learn how to ride what is it called?
A Vespa.
A Vespa, which I was like, those seem so easy. You just get on them and then you go. I didn't think there was like balance involved. So picture me,
and she had to ride with Jermaine on her back.
Yes, I had to ride with Jermaine on the back seat. Like a frosty, March morning in the IKEA parking lot in Brooklyn, just going around in circles, like, and I remember the next day my body ached so much because it was just so tense holding on. For, might I add, a scene that you could have totally put a stunt, the one going across.
No, you're talking.
No. Oh, no, the other one, the scariest one where I almost went into the tree. I almost drove into a tree with Jermaine on the back. And you were like, you told me. You were like, we could have just had a stunt double do that one. It was the wide shot.
Yeah, that one you're like this big on
it was terrifying.
Yeah, but you were very good. I could feel it was you.
And then the second time, I had to act while on the... So that was really, really... And I never want to get on a Vespa ever again.
But can I just say that all of those things, all those surface things that I thought like she might bring... ended up not mattering, because the fact of the matter is the movie's like about family and about love and about fathers and sons and by extension mothers and daughters, and Ingrid is all of those things, and connects to all of those things. And she was like the first person who read the script and said, wow, it's got so much heart, and it was really, really encouraging, actually, because she was the very first person that I ever even sent the script to.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, very first actor.
Outside person?
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know that until just now.
Yeah.
I love, it's such a, it does. It's like a big bursting heart on the screen. Yeah. If you want to feel joy, see the movie.
Yeah. I like that. And when you liked it, it meant so much to me.
Oh,
yeah.
We're having a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to school for musical theater, so I was in a bunch of shows, and after school, I did some... I did a touring company of A Christmas Carol for like little kids all around the Midwest, and it was I was not it was not a gender fluid production. It was the early 2000s.
No,
we hadn't reached that yet. We weren't ready for that yet. I was his mother,
I
Ellie
was
Cratchit.
Like the ghost of Christmas.
No, I was his mother, and we would sing songs about Christmas time, and all the kids would clap, and my song was like a slow ballad about like Tiny Tim dying, basically, and the kids would be like, clap.
How old were you when you were doing this?
crap, I was 21. I was like, this is not what I signed up for when I thought I was going to be an actor. So I quickly started writing music, and I was like, oh, I'm better at this. I like this. This is better for my soul. But I never lost the desire to act and to be on stage. And so when he approached me about being in a movie, I was like, oh, that would be fun and amazing. And so it was my first and only
so far
film role. I got to be on Broadway last summer. This summer that just passed, so that was really fun. But
that was great. That was a great show.
Yeah, it's completely different, especially film. Film is like, well, first of all, I remember the very first scene we shot. I realized I didn't have to speak loudly, but not until I spoke loudly a few times. Like I remember, because I'm so used to like projecting.
Right. Did the sound guys come over? And
no, Jermaine was like his line was so quiet, and I was like, oh, I have a mic on, like literally taped to my boobs. I was like, I don't have to scream, talk. So that was a quick learning curve. But it's much more, it's like that. That's kind of a microcosm. It's like everything is just a smaller version of being on stage. And when I'm on stage, for my shows, I'm myself. I am telling stories about my life, and I'm singing my songs that I've written. And when you're a totally different character, you move differently, you walk differently, you think differently, you embody this other person. And it's in a lot of ways weirdly less intimate, but then more intimate, if that makes any sense. It's like physically more intimate, but emotionally less intimate.
Because there's a distance between.
Because you're not you,
yeah.
but you're being quieter, and you're close to people, and the camera's right there, and so there is this like sort of physical intimacy, but you're sort of protected because you're not you.
Pretending a little bit.
Yeah.
But you were always like so natural, like from the very time we started, like you never felt actory. You know, like
Right.
you always felt very comfortable and very natural, and that has to be.
That first scene, though.
What was the first scene that we did?
It was when I had so many props. The props are like
Props are hard.
horrific. I had a purse. I had a cup of coffee.
Oh, was it when you came in and started playing the piano?
No, it was when we're in the cafe, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
talking to the barista.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had to keep my
Yeah.
purse on this side for continuity, and I had to have a cup filled with coffee, and
Well, there's a technical element to
you have to
acting.
do things the same.
You have to do it the same, and you have to remember in what line you put the purse down, and when you move the car, or some script supervisor comes up to you and says, no.
Yeah, that was like, I would say like, A instead of or whatever. They're like, it's actually A, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that first scene was like, taught me a lot really quickly.
But the funny thing is, there's like you did like a little ad lib in that first scene that's in the movie. Like you did this little like
the ad lib. I feel like that's where I feel most comfortable. Is when I'm just being, silly.
Your stuff was good. Your ad libs were good.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's always good. It's like it's nice to be like the writer and director, because then if they come up with something that's better, you're like, yeah, I wrote that.
Right. That was all
I'm
me.
so smart and funny. Well, for me, it was bliss, because it's not easy to get a movie up and going. So just to be there and having this movie happening was a dream for me. And so every moment was great. That said, it was a little movie. We had to do it really fast. We had to work late into the nights. And there were some challenges, but I always thought it was fun.
I think my favorite part was when it was like freezing and we were in the sand trap.
Yes.
It was a really long day.
And the generator wasn't working.
Whatever was happening, it was really cold.
Yeah.
And we had to lay in a sand trap, and sand, I didn't realize this until then, but it's like a conduit for coldness.
Yes.
It just holds on to the
holds
coldness.
and the heat.
Yes, but it was cold. So, and we were wearing these like warming jackets in between takes, and they're propping you up with sandbags because your head's like this and your neck's sticking out and it doesn't look good on camera. And I remember in between takes, we were sitting in the van eating pizza, and it was like 1 a.m. and everyone was kind of like salty and like kind of grumpy, but also like kind of happy. It's that like weird, like I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm freezing, but like then in between when you're filming, you're like, this is amazing. I'm getting to do this amazing thing, and And that was when Jermaine was like being really silly and saying funny things, and I was saying funny things, and we were just like, it's that juxtaposition between like, I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm freezing, but I'm doing this amazing, fun thing that almost makes it more fun because you're like working.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you're like really working for this, like shoving pizza in your face, then checking your teeth, redoing. They had to keep redoing my makeup because my nose was just pouring out snot because it was cold. But that was, I think, that was my favorite moment because it was hard and fun.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. It was hard and fun. I mean, I think that that's like what like indie filmmaking is. It's it's hard and fun, and nobody's making any money. So
Wait, what?
oh, we didn't tell. They didn't tell you that part. I mean, later you'll make the money. Right. But so everybody's kind of there because they want to be there, and I tried to keep. I've been making movies my whole life, so like I knew. I was very comfortable on the set, and I was trying to make it fun for everybody as much as I could. And so I think we had a good time for the most part. And also, Jermaine is like amazing. You know, Jermaine is so funny and so sweet, and Elliot is as well.
Yeah, very easygoing. Everybody was like so easygoing. Like there were no divas.
It's true.
Yeah.
So fun.